Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Guyomi, Sons of a Pitch Soccer Podcast, episode 174, live. Tonight, we talk She Believes Cup win by the United States Women's National Team. More news, notes, and signings. Thierry Henry's saga finally comes to an end. Sacramento expansion update and round one of World Cup qualifying for 2022 for CONCACAF. So with that being said, let's get some little bit of news out there and out of the way first. Make sure, ladies and gentlemen, on the podcast side, if you're listening to the podcast, we are switching our podcast hosting database. So I've redirected the RSS feed. I've done everything I believe should be good to go from this point. But if you do not get a notification or you don't get an episode to your subscription feed there on the podcast side, just search for us again, and there will be an episode out most likely either Monday night, late Monday night next week, or Tuesday night next week at the very latest Wednesday. So just to get that piece out of there before we get going here. But let's talk a little bit about the U.S. Women's National Team and their victory over Argentina to win the She Believes Cup. This one in Orlando, they beat Brazil, they beat Canada, they beat Argentina handily, and what can you say? U.S. Women's National Team does it again. This team, all they do is win. That song by DJ Khaled, it is definitely fitting for the ladies of the red, white, and blue. This game, I mean, they just completely dominated Argentina, winning that game. I believe it was like 5 or 6-0. Just a crazy, crazy game there for the U.S. Women's National Team over Argentina. So they do it again. They're back-to-back wins now for the She Believes Cup, first ever in the 6-year history of the She Believes Cup. And Brother BKL says, "Hey, Mike, how you doing, Brother BKL? Thanks for jumping on." He says, "Let's talk about it." Absolutely. We got lots to talk about tonight with the She Believes Cup, with news and notes, everything you can think of, we've got here on Sons of a Pitch Soccer Podcast. Now, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button as well before we go any further. Hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications so you don't miss any of our awesome soccer content when we go live with our regular episodes, with live stream reactions, or anytime we upload any episodes. Hit that notification bell as well. And just so you know, we'll also be doing a live for Club America against Lyon on Saturday night. This one will be Saturday night, I believe at 7 or 9 p.m. Central is when we'll be on, but we'll be doing a live stream reaction for Club America against Club Lyon. Now, back to the action here for the U.S. Women's National Team. We did a live stream reaction for that game, and it was a lot of fun. The women just kicked some ass all night long, and really good. I was surprised by the play of a couple of the midfielders. Really liked what I saw. There was a girl in the midfield, Howell, that really caught my eye as like a beast in the midfield that I think is one of the up and coming players for the team, and I think she'll be really good moving forward in the future. So now my notes here just decided to freeze up over here, but a couple things to discuss here on the rumor side of things, the notes, news notes, all that business. First things first, Red Bulls of New York get a loan player of Yuba Diarra on loan from Red Bulls of Salzburg. So it looks like a decent young player, a winger, that was playing at Salzburg there in Austria under Jesse Marsch, and of course the continuing of the bloodlines from Salzburg to Red Bulls up to Salzburg, over to Leipzig, all that kind of stuff, right? So this one, Yuba Diarra on loan from Salzburg, 22-year-old central midfielder, has not played for Salzburg yet. He's had stints in Austria, but has not played for Salzburg. But looks like a decent signing there for the Red Bulls of New York. I mean, they've got some new players that Gerhard Struber has brought in. Brazilian forward Fabio, English right back Tom Edwards, a midfielder Wikelman Carmona, and Colombian defender Andres Reyes, formerly of Inter Miami, who had a decent season last season. So overall, the Red Bulls definitely a welcome signing there for that. And Daniel Young, how you doing, man? And he says, I heard Barca are in a mess. Yeah, I saw this something on my Twitter feed while I was doing a search result for something. It popped up as trending that apparently the Barcelona president was arrested today, and they raided the Barcelona offices and took him out in custody or something to that. I have no idea what's going on with that situation. I didn't even click the story, but sounds like a pretty interesting thing over there. So thanks for jumping on, Daniel, and bringing that to our attention. So looking at the roster here for the Red Bulls as of today, again, still plenty of time. The forwards is Fabio that they brought in, Brian White and Tom Barlow up top. Probably need a little bit more depth there. The midfield is wide. They've got Caceres, Carmona. They've got Sean Davis. Now this new player, Yuba Diarra, Omir Fernandez, Daniel Royer, Florian Velo, Drew Yearwood. They've definitely got a lot of skill and good players in the midfield. Defenders, Kyle Duncan, Tom Edwards, Mandela Egbo, Aaron Long, Sean Nialis, Jason Pendant, Andres Reyes, Amro Tarek, and John Tolkien. So again, they pretty much solid in the middle. They might need a little bit of help on the wings. I don't know how high many people are on Tolkien and or Nialis or Egbo, who are kind of your wing players for the Red Bulls. But so far, building a decent squad is Gerhard Struber, the new coach for the Red Bulls. Moving right along, staying in New York, though, we've got some interesting news out of New York City FC, looking at bringing over a player from Emelec over in Ecuador, an Ecuadorian winger from the club Emelec, 23-year-old João Rojas. To NYCFC is they're saying is close to done. This would be a welcome signing for New York City FC. They need to bring some players in after the mess of losing a couple guys, and Alex Ring and Matarrita, Gary Mackay-Stevens. They've lost some important pieces there. So hey, we got Cameron Young on. How you doing, Cameron? Thanks for jumping on. Good morning. And Daniel Young saying, when is Aaron Long going off to Liverpool? Not happening. Aaron Long's not going anywhere. He didn't move in this transfer window. I knew the Liverpool rumors were just that, complete rumors. There was no way he was going to Liverpool. He doesn't have the talent to go to a club like that. But decent enough. I think he could get a shout in the championship, but I think the Red Bulls are holding off for a Premier League deal, which is going to fit what they want for that player. But that's a whole nother story. Looking at João Rojas from Emelec here, looks like he scored 15 goals, 17 assists in just over 100 appearances for Emelec. And Brother BKL says, this is my first time hearing, this is the first he had heard Rojas when he plays an excellent game. Yeah, he sounds like he's a hell of a player. Good attacking skill, which is much needed for NYCFC. But, you look at just linking up with Maxi Morales, who's going to be back, as well as, Tajuri Shradi. Will Tajuri Shradi be back with New York City? He's still listed on the roster as of mid-February, but it's going to be important to see. This looks like it could be a good signing for New York City after losing Alex Ring and Matarrita and Gary Mackay-Stevens. So we'll see if that actually pans out and actually does come to fruition. Another thing that actually did come to fruition just today was Jonathan Suarez had his contract terminated by MLS and Orlando City. So Jonathan Suarez was just brought in as like a kind of a free agent signing this season from Mexico, and looked to be a good defensive signing for Orlando City. And apparently this just came out of left field, and that Orlando City and Major League Soccer dissolved their contract with Jonathan Suarez, and the defender mutually agreed to terminating the contract. And that was apparently based with some the connection is with some allegations of sexual battery in Osceola County. Sheriff's office actually arrested him on Tuesday night due to those allegations. So apparently because of his arrest, MLS has made the decision to terminate his contract, and Orlando City agrees. Obviously, they don't really have much of a choice. And then you've got Orlando City now. They thought they had a good signing, and now they do not have a signing anymore. And I mean, depending on what happens with the investigation, I would say possibly if this comes out where there was no issues or something like that, they may end up re-signing him. But again, no exact word on if this is just a complete done deal. I mean, it looks to me like it's a complete done deal, but we will see if it does end up turning around before the season actually gets started. But a very interesting tidbit of information there for Orlando City, who's had a great offseason so far. They really have had a good offseason, and he was part of that good offseason. And now that changes things a bit for them. So looking at the next one on the list here, we've got might be the biggest new signing of the offseason if you look at injury returns as the same as a signing. But just a little bit of information out of Atlanta United that Joseph Martinez looks to be on pace to be ready to go for the beginning of the season for Atlanta United. That there is as big as a signing as you can get in MLS, I think. Just the fact to have him ready to go for the MLS season is huge. So Jose Hernandez is back. How you doing? He says, it's been a while. Good to see you, Jose. Thanks for coming on and hanging out here. So Joseph Martinez being back for Atlanta United, definitely a big piece for them. And that team was a mess without him. So yes, Atlanta United has had a very good offseason with signings of Sosa and a few other South American players. Definitely looking better than they did last year, but when you add Joseph Martinez back into the mix, that is absolutely huge. Will Joseph be the same Joseph that he was? I don't know. Anytime a guy comes back from an injury like that, he may not be exactly the same as what he was. So we'll see. But I think it's a positive sign for Atlanta, a positive sign for MLS to have Joseph Martinez back. And speaking of being back, Jose Hernandez, glad you're back, sir. And Isaiah Paskins, he got some Chipotle. Nice. Got some Chipotle. I can go for some Chipotle right now. I'm hungry. Another news out of Texas. We've got, look at this, Thabby Melvin. Go Jays. Nice. Go Blue Jays. Over there on Facebook. Thanks for jumping on, Thabby Melvin. And we've got Christian Pulisic's cousin is going to be on trial at Austin FC. Now, I kind of look at this as a couple different ways here. Well, one, not very often does a trialist garner much attention from the league on their website, from reporting networks or anything like that. So usually when there's a trialist in place, you never even hear about it unless you're a diehard. You're following the Twitter feed of a team and you see the name in some type of graphic or playing in a preseason game or something like that. Is this just a PR stunt for Austin FC, or are they serious about Will Pulisic, the cousin of Christian Pulisic, being on the team this season? So, I mean, Will Pulisic, a little bit about him. He is actually a goalkeeper for Austin FC, and he played his college soccer with Duke University, which is actually one of the best soccer programs out there, I would say. So he played for Duke. He also featured for Borussia Dortmund's U19 team and was a U.S. youth national team player. So he was a starting goalkeeper for the USA at the 2015 Under-17 World Cup. So he does have a little bit of pedigree. So maybe it's not just strictly a PR move. Maybe it's a little bonus that he is the cousin of Pulisic, right? But he looks to have some serious skill. And again, playing for Duke is a good, is a good thing to have on your resume, because Duke is a very good college team. This season, Austin FC do already have 3 goalkeepers on the roster. So they've got Andrew Tarbell, Brad Stuver, and Brady Scott. Both Tarbell and Stuver have a lot of MLS experience. So I don't see, Brady Scott's a U.S. Youth International who was with Nashville last season, but again, same type of pedigree-wise of Youth International, just like Will Pulisic. So I don't see this going very far unless he has an unbelievable just a crazy, unbelievable camp, and then was able to unseat probably Brad Stuver. I think Andrew Tarbell will be the starter for Austin when all is said and done. And we'll talk more about that in the Austin FC team preview for the 2021 MLS season. Again, for the team previews, looking to start recording those probably next week, maybe the week after that, and start releasing them probably about 30 days before the start of the season. So probably around March 15th, 16th is when I'll start releasing those. And now we get 27 teams in 31 days. It's going to be crazy, but a lot of information coming your way about every single team in MLS with our team previews. So Brother BKL says Austin FC is a pretty good team, but I don't know how good it is. Again, looking at, the paper, they look like a very decent team. Don't know how they'll fare as an expansion team yet. Of course, building the pieces, putting it all together, gelling together. What will it look like when all is said and done? Jose Hernandez asked a question. Thoughts on Van Rankin, the Chivas player to the Portland Timbers? This one, I do not know much about him. I'll have to look it up a little bit there. Rocky, our resident Timbers fan, glad to see you here, Rocky. Glad you're on. So far, Van Rankin loves Portland, and he thinks that he will fit right in. So anytime Portland can pick up a player from League MX, they've done it with a couple players in the past, and it has worked out well for Portland. I think he should do fine in Portland. Van Rankin there from Chivas, and should be fun. But maybe we'll have to spotlight him in our Portland Timbers team preview, which possibly might have to get a little bit of help there with from that one from some of our fans. And we got Jay Jardim in the building. How you doing, Jay? How's it going, man? Glad to have you here. And let's move this along. Looking down at the next one, Austin FC, another piece here on them. Austin FC actually has a 10,000 seat wait list for their season tickets. So the PR stunt of Will Pulisic is probably not that much of a PR stunt, because a 10,000 seat wait list is the best that's ever happened in league history, the largest wait list ever. So they don't have to really worry about PR. They're not trying to sell any seats. They've already got tons and tons of people lined up for those seats, and they're not even going to be able to fill up the stadium to full capacity anytime soon due to COVID. So then Rocky's talking about the signings there. Fernandez was questionable. Obviously how it worked out, but the production that Portland got out of him was pretty damn good, especially for the short time that they had him. So, but yes, I will agree. Definitely is questionable. Last player or so to talk about here. Some interesting news out of TFC land, and Jay Jardim, glad you're here for this one. Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy, the 16-year-old TFC player, already being scouted by some of the biggest clubs in Europe. And it's not like, Bayern Munich is interested. This is a list of Manchester City, Juventus, Bayern Munich, Manchester United. All of the big clubs are interested in Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy, which, Bill Manning had said that he was probably going to be one of the best Canadian product out there. And unfortunately, we haven't had a chance to see him yet at TFC. We've seen him a little bit with the TFC Academy, as well as with the TFC2 side, even though last year he was signed up to the first squad. He only got 18 minutes of time with TFC. And from what we're seeing and hearing, looks like this kid is the next big thing. As Jay says, all I hear is this kid is going to be the next big thing. People close to the club say it. And I obviously that is true if you've got all of these huge clubs banging down the door trying to get this player. Probably a la Alphonso Davies, going to be in the talk of one of the better players in the world in the near future, probably 3, 4, 5 years down the line. Now, with him, do not mess this up, Toronto FC. Do not mess this up, Canadian soccer. Do not send this kid over to Barcelona or Bayern Munich or Manchester City or wherever you end up sending him. Do not send him now at 16 years old. Apparently, there's some type of rule in place. I was reading something about a rule where they actually can't be transferred till they're 18, which... If that's the case, good, because he needs a couple years in MLS to build up, a la Alphonso Davies. Alphonso Davies there was talk about him being the next big thing when he was 16 years old, and he was playing in MLS. And if they moved him, like a Balou Tabla, who was with Montreal, moved to Barcelona, was playing for Barcelona's B-side, well, then he ended up coming back to Montreal because Barcelona loaned him out. He was trash, and they're like, forget it. We don't even want to waste our time with him anymore. So do not mess this up. Play him in some games. I can't wait. There's so much youth in this Toronto side that I think Chris Armas definitely can work some things there and make Toronto FC's youngsters a huge, huge piece. As Jay Jardim says, you look Achara, Io, Julian Dunn, Ruddy, and Nelson. Yep, exactly. Jaden Nelson is a beast. That kid is unbelievable. I think these guys should be seeing a lot of time this year. If they don't, I'll be disappointed for sure. And Daniel Young agrees. I would keep him in MLS to help him to develop truth. Noble Okello is another one. I mean, this is a guy who was being scouted by a lot of teams in Germany. It's sorry about the page there. I'm on call. It's actually not a page for work though. So that's a plus. So looking at where was I? Jordan Perusa as well. TFC loaded with lots of young talent. Hopefully it pans out for them. But that's enough of talking about that. Kind of at the halfway point of the show. Want to keep this around 40 minutes or so. And so looking at the next few things I want to talk about are the coaching update of Thierry Henry's saga. Thierry Henry has stepped down as head coach of Club de Foot Montreal. Last week, we discussed it, and I said it looks like him taking the easy way out. Well, he upped me one and definitely took big time the easy way out. I agree. It's a tough situation with COVID going on and all that kind of stuff, but COVID's been going on now for over a year. This is not, this wasn't like it was, COVID just started and it's a month in and he's away from his family and this is really hard. It's an excuse, complete excuse to get back to England and take the easy way out because he knows he's not a good coach and that CF Club de Foot Montreal would have sucked again this season and he would have been on the hot seat. So Thierry Henry, it's over now. Thank God for MLS because I'm so done with them trying to pump him up as this next best thing. And, he's the greatest coach in the world. And Montreal is so lucky to have Thierry Henry. And he's just not a good coach. I mean, look, he couldn't win in Monaco. He couldn't win in Montreal. And to step down like that is a slap in the face to MLS and a slap in the face to the club of Montreal. So for me, I'm glad that he has stepped down and he is now out of the league, so we don't have to discuss him anymore. But what are your thoughts? Let me know your thoughts in the chat on Thierry Henry. Are you excited that he is gone? Do you think he took the easy way out? Do you think his claims are correct that, he did definitely have, a good reason to leave and whatnot. So Brother BKL says, COVID turned into worst, but I'm glad he could take care of his family. And now who's next for Club de Foot Montreal? So, And yeah, Jay Jardim says the Canadian clubs definitely have it tough. It's hard on the families for sure. And this season they should be able to work a little bit better with that. They should be able to bring their families into the United States where they're based and do that. So I could see, I see where you're coming from there. But again, things are different this season. It's not like that plan that got thrown together at the end of the season last year where it was like, all right, you're going to Connecticut now, TFC, and you're not coming back for 6 months or whatever, whatever the days exactly were. And the same with Montreal going to New York, et cetera, et cetera. It's going to be a little bit different this time around. It's not as, there's definitely less restrictions through traveling through the border. So I'm excited about that side of things for the Canadian teams. Hey, Ramon Blablano is on. How you doing, sir? Hi, everyone. Let's go black and gold LAFC. Good luck to your LAFC this season, Ramon. Glad to have you on here. And and so here we go with Daniel Young adding in about the younger players. Keep him in MLS as long as we can until he is ready. Don't flip the player quickly for money. Truth. Agreed. 100% there, Daniel. So Thierry Henry, done. That's it for him. He's stepped down. And now another big announcement in MLS, which is probably to me is very interesting, is the Sacramento expansion team, which they have not named yet. But Sacramento's expansion team took a big hit this last week. The main investor, the leading investor of that group, has decided to step down and step out of the agreement with MLS. So as of right now, that puts the Sacramento bid in serious jeopardy unless they can find someone else to step up to the plate. And, to be honest with you, with all of the teams on the wait to get into MLS and with COVID coming in and doing what it has done in the past year, I've been waiting for something like this to happen with either Charlotte or Sacramento or Austin, one of these sides. And it did happen with Sacramento. So they now, I mean, what's the next steps for them? We did an interview with the Sacktown FC podcast back when COVID first started. And, they were really pumped up about their USL team going into MLS. And it seemed like, everybody's been talking about Sacramento getting into MLS for a long time now. And I figured it was going to happen. And Brother BKL says, wait, Sacramento? I never heard that. Yeah, so they're in trouble, man. The main owner, Ron Burkle, has decided to not move forward with the acquisition of an MLS expansion team in Sacramento. So right now, MLS is going to work with Mayor Daryl Steinberg to evaluate possible next steps for MLS in Sacramento. But again, when their biggest investor is out, my guess is that the entire thing will fall apart and that Sacramento will not get a team. And Jay Jardim says, I'm surprised it was only one team that got affected. Truth. When you look at, St. Louis, they're still waiting to start. I'm thinking, okay. And now, Sacramento's when on the MLS page, when you look up in the top right corner where they have they did have the three logos for the expansion teams. They had Charlotte, Sacramento, and St. Louis. Well, they moved Austin FC into the normal teams because they're starting this season, but Sacramento's badge is gone. So from what I can tell, it looks like Sacramento will not be getting a team, and maybe we'll have to see if we can get those guys from Sacktown FC on again to discuss this a little bit. But very disappointing. You hate to see it. I thought Sacramento, for a long time, Sacramento was talked about of being a great addition to MLS. Their fan base seemed to be one of the best in USL, and you hate to see it. All right, so another thing, the jerseys. Wanted to talk a little bit about the jerseys that have come through, and The jerseys are, to me, again, seem to be a bit of a dud. Now, Toronto FC hasn't released theirs yet. That's the only one I really care about. But some of the other jerseys that have come out, Minnesota's jersey is just a plain teal. A lot of very bland jerseys, and I get it. It's soccer, so you're not trying, you usually go for that main color against another main color. But even Atlanta United's jersey was a down step in what they've had in the past. A lot of Jay Jardim says, yeah, Josie released it. Yeah, he did, with that picture there, that Instagram story or whatever. And it was funny. Ryan Anderson, who's been on our show, and he tweeted out something about that story, and Waking the Red picked that up, and then ended up, showing his tweet there on Waking the Red. So that was pretty cool. So well done to Ryan Anderson there. Looks like a pretty fire kit for TFC though, but a lot of bland jerseys. I mean, you look at the Chicago Fire; they released both a primary and secondary jersey for this season. That's because they're going to be getting a new logo again next year to get rid of the train wreck crown logo that they have this year. But that was, to me, the jerseys have not been that good as of yet. Now let's talk a little bit about Liga MX before we talk. Lastly, the last one for the night will be the 2022 World Cup qualifying round 1. And as Daniel says, NYCFC's new jersey is just a repeat of our 2015-16 home with a sky and teal blue strip pattern. Yeah, it's pretty much exactly the same there as the old one, as the original. So Liga MX recap. You got Atletico San Luis holding Tigres to a draw. Very surprising result there in Atletico San Luis. Puebla beats Necaxa 1-0. Mazatlan tears up Querétaro 3-0. Toluca and Atlas go to a 0-0 draw. Club America beats Pachuca 2-0. Pachuca's struggles continue, them being the worst team in the league. Leon and Cruz Azul. Cruz Azul pulls out the 1-0 victory and stays top of the table there in Mexico. Monterrey and Club Tijuana, 1-1 draw there. Santos Laguna gets back on track, beating Juarez 3-2, but not very convincingly. And then Guadalajara beats Pumas 2-1. So Chivas gets the victory on that one. So lastly, I want to talk a little bit about the 2022 World Cup qualifying, the first round. So obviously the United States men's national team, they're going to have a couple friendlies coming up towards the end of March. We'll be live for one of them, possibly two, depending on the schedule. They're playing on the March 25th and March 28th. So looking at the schedule, we might do both games. We might do just one. They'll be based in Europe, so it'll be a daytime thing. So, work, that's kind of hard. But with that being said, the U.S. is waiting until the second round, or the octagon portion of it. Canada is not there yet. They have to participate in round 1. And so round 1 is actually based, starts up on March 24th is the first match day window. So just over 3 weeks away for the Canadian men's national team starting their journey to 2022. So with that being said, their group is Canada, Suriname, Bermuda, Cayman Islands, and Aruba. 4 teams that Canada should be able to beat by at least 4 goals every single night. When you look at all of these groups in this round 1 portion of the CONCACAF World Cup qualifying, each group has one good team, right? So when you look at Group A, they have El Salvador. The rest of the group is Antigua and Barbados, Grenada, Montserrat, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. Only one good team, and that's El Salvador. And how good you want to rank them, I don't know if I would rank them even as that good. Group C is a different story. So C and D kind of have 2 teams that are decent, but there's not one good team. So Group C is Curacao, Guatemala, both of the two decent teams, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Cuba, and the British Virgin Islands. Group D is Panama and the Dominican Republic. So those are the two teams that are decent. Barbados, Dominica, and Anguilla. Group E and F only have one decent team, Haiti in Group E and Trinidad and Tobago in Group F. So the way that this works is out of those 6 groups, and as Jay Jardim says, they better, as in Canada advancing to the octagon. This should be, they really should get there. No doubt about it. And then Brother BKL says, plus Olympic men's qualifying. This is perfect to watch that USMNT against the Dominican Republic. Yes, I definitely, that game, we might have to do a live on that one if I can. For that one, that would be exciting. But looking at these groups, so the way it works is the winner of the group will actually get Ramon Poblano says, love how you cover the games. How much do I need to send to have you cover Mexico versus Costa Rica game? Is that the Nations League game? So that one, what I said, I put it out there before, $10. Sent $10 super chat gets you a pick of the game, as long as I have it in my TV package, which if that's the one, the Nations League, it should be on FS1 or at least on Fubo TV. So $10 super chat will get you that game, Ramon. So definitely on that one. So looking back at these groups here, when you see that each team, you're going to get the team that wins the group that's going to move on, and then they play a two-leg breakdown. So, for example, the breakdown is the Group F winner against the Group A winner. So most likely will be Trinidad and Tobago against El Salvador. We'll play a two-legged tie. Group B and Group E, Canada will most likely match up with Haiti. And then the winner of that matchup is actually moving into the octagon, whatever, with Honduras, United States, Costa Rica, Mexico, Jamaica, and whatnot. So that is the plan for the qualifying. I am really excited to start watching this with Canada. This is a really good chance for Canada to get into the octagon. They have not been in the hex for a long time, and this is a good opportunity for them to get there. And I think they can definitely play with Jamaica. They can beat Jamaica. I think they can play and possibly even beat Costa Rica, and can definitely beat Honduras. So the 3 teams are going to guaranteed get in to the World Cup in 2022. The top 3 teams in the octagon. The 4th will play in the Interconfederation playoffs. Canada has a shot to make the 2022 World Cup there. So there you go. And look at that, Ramon Poblano, $10 super chat. Thank you, sir. And you say, done. I got you locked in. Perfect. I will add that to my schedule right now. And just to clarify, and it is the Nations League game, correct? The Nations League game between Mexico and Costa Rica. I don't know if they're playing in the World Cup or the Olympic qualifiers. So let me know if it's the Olympic qualifiers that you're talking about, or if you're talking about the Nations League game come June. So there you go. Thank you, sir, for that super chat. Absolutely amazing. Thank you, Ramon. And Daniel Young says, I know for Eloy Room should be Curaçao's best player. Absolutely. He is definitely Curaçao's best player. There's no doubt about it. So, all right. So Ramon Poblano says yes. So it is the Nations League game. I will put that down there for June. Absolutely love it, Ramon. And we'll make sure you'll be here for that one, I'm sure. All right, so moving right along here, Daniel Young says Curaçao should have players that are eligible to represent the Netherlands. They do. So that's that funny the way that the Curaçao was and the Netherlands, the same territories, or was part of the French. I can't remember exactly what the breakdown was there for Curaçao and the Netherlands, but yes, that is how it goes there, Daniel. So, all right, with that being said, let's take this thing to the end of the show. Again, just as a side note for everyone listening on the podcast side, we are moving our podcast hosting service from Blueberry to Anchor. I have redirected the RSS feeds, put in a 301 request. Everything seems, I already made the switch actually last week. Everything seems to be working fine. However, if you do not get a regular podcast episode showing up next week, make sure you search for Sons of a Pitch Soccer Podcast because it could have something to do with that RSS feed. So overall, should not be any issues. I don't expect any issues. We didn't have any issues last week, but just in case, that way you know. And again, that next week I do have it scheduled to do on Tuesday night since I have a meeting on next Monday night, the 8th. So it most likely will be Tuesday night next week to do the recording of the regular podcast episode. All right, Ramon Poblano says, sorry, it's for the friendly March 30th. Okay, perfect. All right, let me look at that then and make sure that that's going to be on TV. And Ramon Poblano, do you have a Twitter handle or anything like that? Do you follow on Twitter of Sons of a Pitch on Twitter or on Instagram or anything like that? Let me know via that. Follow that way and shoot a DM and we'll discuss it afterwards. I'm actually going on Toronto Sports Insider at 9 p.m. for the Toronto Maple Leafs game, but we'll chat over the next day or two there for Ramon. We'll definitely get in touch. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the show, and we will be back on our live stream reaction, Club America and Lyon on Saturday night. So make sure you join us here on YouTube for Club America against Club Lyon Saturday night in Liga MX action. And we're getting closer. Every day is closer to MLS, and every day is closer to what we love in the United States men's national team playing competitive games in World Cup qualifying, Canada as well. So lots of fun ahead on the horizon. Thanks everybody for joining, and we'll see you guys real soon.